What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Man, it's kind of crazy. I trim my beard, and I've got so much gray in here that it kind of blends in. And it looks like I'm actually clean shaven down here in this light. But no, it's just a lot of gray hair. But anyway, be that as it may, we have some developing news on Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, who is currently holding the Dallas Cowboys hostage, he'll be flying to D.C. tomorrow for an interview with the Commanders. We'll be flying to D.C. on Monday, interviewing the Commanders Tuesday for their head coaching vacancies, per sources. Last week, he ended up doing the same thing in Seattle. So it's a question of, will he get one of these two jobs, which are the two vacancies that are left? I still believe that he is a strong candidate for the Seattle Seahawks. I would rather see him go to Seattle than the Commanders. Now, the question you have to ask here, as we sit here on Championship Sunday, where the Cowboys, we are not, of course, playing, is, are the Cowboys doing what they always do, and that is being reactionary as opposed to being proactive? And by that I mean is, here we hear, in our mind as YouTubers, when you listen to us guys, who have been, so many of you have been wanting to get rid of Dan Quinn, and whether they do or don't, you still have to plan for him not being here. And the question begs is, are we sitting here and just waiting to see if he's going to come back and then deciding what to do? Was the plan that, we'd end up taking one of our guys from within and promote them, be it Joe Witt or be it Al Harris? But as we're sitting here and waiting, we hear different things. We've heard that Joe Witt might be going with Dan Quinn. We've heard Al Harris literally say, wherever Dan Quinn goes, I will follow him to the gates of hell or to Alaska. So if we're looking to hire within, those aren't possibilities. Now, of course, we have people that'll say, well, why don't we get Vrabel or why don't we get Bill Belichick? I'm not sure that those are realistic options for those guys if that's what they're looking for. And you also look and say that coaching hires, the type of coaches has evolved. And you're seeing now guys like Jared Mayo, you're seeing guys like Antonio Pierce, you're seeing the Texans coach. Those guys are beginning to have success as head coaches, and you're seeing these older coaches that are kind of getting pushed out. And it may be that it's time for the next generation. And you can see how the coaching has evolved from being the fear mongers, the ones that, you're going to do what the hell I say or your job is done, as motivational types not working. And now it's more of the guys that are the rah-rah, the Dan Campbells. And so this is where you look and you see that the guys that Pete Carroll, you're looking at guys like, of course, Bill Belichick and Vrabel, that are more guys that are really knee-deep and in-your-face kind of guys, have evolved into guys that are still in your face, but in a different way as motivators. And so with a person having the stature of Bill Belichick, I don't see him wanting to, as he kind of pointed out, he's not interested in the Eagles or the Cowboys as a head coach. I don't see him wanting to be going backwards and being a defensive coordinator.
I just wanted to say I'm so
If he still wants to coach, and he says he does, it's to be a head coach. He don't want to waste a couple of years as a defensive coordinator. His ultimate goal is to have more wins than anybody else. You're not getting that credit as the defensive coordinator. Now, the question begs is, as we see all of the musical chairs getting filled, as the Cowboys are dancing around, they may be left without a lot of choices. Say what you want about the Eagles hiring Kellen Moore. Say what you want about it. I don't know if that's going to work out for them or not. I kind of think that that's a guy that's overrated, but that's my own personal opinion. But at least they recognize that what we got from our offensive coordinator and our head coach last year was not good enough. And we believe that this guy will make an improvement. Whether that works out or not, I don't know. But you have to give them credit for at least being proactive instead of waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and being held hostage like we are with Dan Quinn. So for me, this is one of those cases of the Cowboys effed around and they're finding out that it doesn't work the way they do business and that they really need to do business differently. I hope that they wake up and realize that you've been living on the 90s for so long, and that the way you've been doing things, does not work any longer in today's NFL. And see, this is something I've learned in my personal life in doing YouTube, and this is true in anything, okay? There's a lot of businesses that will go through and say, well, we're the number one blah, 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 blah. And this is the way we do things, that are no longer in business. And if you do not evolve to the changing dynamics, what happens is people figure out what you do. And this is why you see Dallas Cowboys players and coaches that get hired. They learn from your people how to beat you. They evolve what they're doing. They change with the dynamics. The Cowboys are still stuck with, we them boys. We're the Dallas Cowboys. We are the richest franchise in football. We won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Well, I hate to tell you guys, that don't mean shit anymore. Tom Landry was the greatest coach that I'd ever known. But Tom Landry, what he was doing got old and stale and got passed by. And it wasn't until we changed what we were doing in the 90s that brought us forward. And this is the problem with the Joneses. Stephen Jones still believes that, you're playing money ball with the NFL and you got to play the long game. Well, the long game keeps you relevant, keeps you in there with hope going into the playoffs. But as we sit here on Championship Sunday, I hope that every single one of the Dallas Cowboys organization, from the owners to the ball boys to the players to the coaches, are all forced to watch these other teams play today and realize their failure, that they didn't do enough to make it to Championship Sunday, much less the Super Bowl, and that creates a hunger to do something different, because we keep doing the same damn thing. And if you do not evolve, if you do not change, you become a dinosaur and die. My words for the day. Peace.